Our team of National Board Certified Teachers represents Arkansas's affiliate for National Board. We are the agents for change.
We are a small group of National Board Certified Teachers who are determined to change the face of education in our state. We are going to begin by explaining why our plan will eliminate the achievement gap, what this plan looks like, and how we are already implementing the process. Our passion and vision is to elevate the teaching profession to once was what considered one of the most respected and admired jobs in our society. A decade of research has confirmed that students taught by National Board Certified Teachers make gains in upwards of 8 weeks of students taught by other teachers, especially our underserved populations. Our vision has 2 parts. First, we want to rapidly expand the number of MBCTs in Arkansas. We want an MBCT in every classroom and every zip code. Secondly, our plan will leverage the use of MBCTs to develop, design, and administer exceptional PD for our teachers. Our plan includes the direct mentoring of new teachers, increasing student achievement, and supporting the process to grow more MBCTs in our state.
Increasing the number of MBCTs in Arkansas requires options for support and funding and mentoring of those teachers based on the specific needs of teachers in schools and districts, especially districts with underserved students. National Board Certified Teachers are currently leading the professional learning in Arkansas in some areas. Examples are in my district, Fort Smith Public Schools in Fort Smith, Arkansas, and Rogers Public Schools in Rogers, Arkansas. MBCTs are working directly with novice teachers, serving as facilitators of reading, math, and content specialists, and are building and district administrators.
Equitable education is important for every student. Recent research found that board-certified teachers are more effective at advancing student learning than other teachers with similar experiences. You might not know, but at Chicago Mitchell Elementary School, where 70% of the students are from low-income families, they went from having only 8% of students performing at the top level to 24%, and reduced those in the lowest tier from 12% to only 0.3% during a period when the faculty went from having no board certified teachers to having 70% of their faculty board certified. Sources estimate 50% of the teachers leave the field in the first 5 years of teaching. Research supports providing retention stipends to build supply as an effective model for retaining NBCTs in the classroom, with 94% of NBCTs currently teaching or serving in specialized teaching positions, and 84% of NBCTs have remained in the same school district they were in the time that they were certified. We know 81% of Americans want their child to be taught by a National Board Certified teacher.
A challenge that National Board Certified teachers have is, what do I do next? More personally, how can I lead from my classroom? I teach in the BB School District in BB, Arkansas, where about 8% of the teachers are National Board Certified. My district has agreed to invest its professional development funds to grow its own National Board Certified teachers. This spring, I met with 4 teachers, kindergarten and first, to begin taking them through the National Board journey. Once they've submitted in the spring, then I will begin to take another group through to start their journey. This model can be replicated across our state from district to district in every district and utilize our nearly 3,000 MBCTs in Arkansas to make sure that every student in every zip code in every classroom is exponentially impacted by accomplished teaching. So what are our next steps? We already have plans to carry this message to policymakers. In August, we're participating in a National Board Mississippi Delta Summit to discuss possible solutions to challenges in that area. This week, we met with the governor's education liaison and have secured a commitment to a meeting with the governor. And we'll continue our frequent contacts with legislators and Department of Ed members, shifting our focus from advocacy for the program to growing National Board leaders.
Thank you. Stephanie, are you ready for some comments?
Sure. That was great. That was great. Except you talked a little bit fast. I just want, as somebody who talks super fast, some of it was really fast for me. Again, I love this. You started out with the achievement gap. That was fantastic. Got my attention right out of the gate. And that you talked about elevating the teaching profession. I think there's some of that underlies what everybody's been talking about, but you just called it out, and I like that. The one thing I think I heard so there was a lot about the research on it, and I maybe, to be honest, I think a lot of people know about that. I think you could maybe cut it a little bit. And I would like to have heard way more about the NCTB teachers leading professional learning. I think I would have liked to have heard a little bit more about that, what that looks like, how you could scale it, and how much it would cost. But that was great.
When you first started, you said you have a plan that's going to close the achievement gap, and I was like, wow, this is huge, big. And this is in no way a criticism, but I kind of felt like I was not included in the conversation because I am not a national board certified teacher. And in my state, where as a beginning teacher, you have to, I think we're up to 4 certification exams. We have one of the most rigorous, crazy certification processes ever. As a new teacher, I would be somewhat overwhelmed by yet another certification process. So to kind of just weave that in and make it unified across state lines, because I think one of the biggest challenges we're having in Connecticut is our issue of reciprocity, where a teacher in Connecticut can't teach in Massachusetts because the requirements are so strikingly different. To now add another layer to that requirement, I think would be daunting to beginning educators and even some of our veteran educators who have already become experts in their field, and now to add on another layer. So just to sell that in a way where it's beneficial to everyone, like membership in this group is something that will have a ripple effect and affect everything that we touch.
I think you started with what caught my eye was elevating the profession, which is absolutely needed, and I think it's what we're talking about here, and it's a big moment for the country in terms of how we're going to talk about teachers going forward, and so I appreciate that. I wrote down a couple questions I just want you to think about. So if national board certification is the way that the state of Arkansas is going to go, can we work with state policymakers to say this is really just not optional, like we're going in this direction as a group? So rather than creating a group of teachers that is this group and then another group of teachers that is something else, like let's get the state and let's go. And I love that you're talking to the governor and legislature. Perfect. So that's more of a question, like could you do that? And then if I'm a non-policymaker and I don't know what the national board is, make sure in your presentation you don't jump past what is involved in national board certification. Because some of these states have really low certification levels. Like when I hear certification, I don't automatically assume everything that comes along with national board, which I already know, but maybe our other folks wouldn't know. So thanks.
I concur with many of the comments that my colleagues have already made. Make sure you include the commissioner and state board in your stakeholder list that's there. You mentioned that you had kind of visited with them, but it wasn't on your list, and I think they can really be champions for you in this process by being a part of the process. I love that you're focusing on nationally board certified teachers, because I think it's time in our country to have a real serious discussion about how do we elevate and understand what that role is with states. And as Chris said, there's such a difference in how certification occurs state to state, and it's Joanna mentioned that as well. I think it's important that we do maybe look at that and see how we elevate that process. So again, nice job.
Thank you.